Hello, Algebra 1. You have made it to your very last lesson of the school year. I know this has been a crazy year. I've been so grateful to be your teacher, and I'm so sorry that your year had to end this way. But you have made it to the end, the last day of curriculum. So let's get to it, shall we? Today we're going to do a factoring recap, which is what our last big unit was on, but we're going to look at this a little more in terms of what you'll do with geometry. Okay, so solve by factoring and then using zero product property. A lot of times in geometry when you factor, you won't have an equal zero. So our focus today is manipulating your equations to get that equal zero, and then we'll just do a quick recap of factoring and ZPP. Okay, so again, we always want an equal zero. So here I'll have to add my 2x over. And I'm also going to subtract my 5 over. And then we should be able to combine. 10x plus 2x is 12x. 25 minus 5 is a positive 20. And then you'll have an equal 0 over here. Okay, so now we can go ahead and we can do our box problem. We are multiplying to 20 and we are adding to 12. Notice I'm not worrying about a GCF at all because there's nothing in front of my x squared. Okay, so I can go straight to my box problem. Multiplying to 20 and adding to 12 is a 10 and a 2. So that's the factored form, and now I'll go ahead and solve it using zero product property, or ZPP. And just a reminder, that's where I set each part equal to 0, and I'll get x equals negative 10, and I'll get x equals negative 2. And those are your two answers. Okay? All right, let's try another one. So number 2, notice you have two terms on each side. So some people say, oh, it doesn't matter what we move. Well, it does matter. We always want x squared to be positive. So you do want to move these guys over, okay? Leave the x squared where it is because it's already a positive. I'll subtract my 2x. And I'll just put that here. And I'll subtract my 38. I'll put that there. And then you're going to combine what you can. You want your x squared to be first. There weren't any other x's over here, so it's just the negative 2x that I just brought over. And I have negative 10 already there, and I subtracted 38, so that's going to be a negative 48. And then these are gone, so that's just my equal 0. Okay, so again, notice you don't have anything other than a 1 in front of x squared. That means we can go straight to our box problem. Multiplies to negative 48 and adds to negative 2. Don't forget your equal 0. And that's going to be a negative 8 and a positive 6. So we'll put x minus 8, x plus 6. And now I will go ahead and I will solve. Okay. And we'll add our 8 over. Again, solving using zero product property, we just set each factor equal to 0, and then we'll solve for x. Okay. All right. Let's try two more. Number 3 is a little weird because we have two different x squareds. Okay, so what I'll do first is I'll start by subtracting this x squared over, which is really just a 1x squared, and I'll also subtract my 8x over. 2x squared minus 1x squared is just 1x squared. I moved my 8x over, so it's a negative, and my 15 is just chilling, and I have an equal 0. Okay, again, you just have a 1 in front of x squared, so we'll go straight to our box problem. Multiplies to 15, adds to negative 8. I'm going to set it up. So what multiplies to 15 and adds to negative 8? It's going to be 5 and 3, but they're both going to be negatives. Okay, and then don't forget to actually solve. We'll just set each part equal to 0. Again, this is called zero product property. And you can add your 5 over. And add your 3 over. and there are your two solutions. All right, number 4. Number 4, again, you want to make sure x squared is positive, so I'm going to leave this stuff where it is, and I'm going to take these guys and move them over. Okay, and we'll do that just using our opposites. So like this is x, I'll subtract x, and this is 6, so I'll subtract 6. And then the order we put this in is important. It should go x squared, x, and then your number. So the x squared is just right there. We had 2x and we subtracted 1x. So 2x minus 1x is 1x. And then I also brought over my 6. I subtracted it. Equals 0. Okay, so now we can do our box problem. We are multiplying to -6 and we are adding to 1. And that would be a +3 and a -2. And then go ahead and solve. Okay, again, solving, I just set each part equal to 0. It does have to be in factored form first. And then we can move our 3 over. You'll get x equals -3. And you can move your 2 over and you're going to get x equals 2. Okay, your very last submission here. I actually have 2 problems here. So I'm going to let you decide. You can do one or you can do both. What I will hope is that you will choose the one that is challenging. So number 2 is obviously more challenging than number 1 because number 1 is already equal to 0. So if you're someone who this factoring has been pretty easy for yourself, challenge yourself. Try number 2. If you've been really struggling with the factoring, then do number 1. Okay, this is a problem that you've already assessed on. I'm going to give you your answers here. Number 1, you should end up with an x equals -6 and an x equals -2. And number 2, you should end up with an x equals 9 and an x equals -4. Again, these are your final answers, okay? So what I'd like you to do is pick one of these problems or do both of them. Please take a picture and submit to me, and then I will give you feedback. I will be giving you points based on how you did. Okay, you have the correct answers here, and if you get the wrong answer, that's okay. You'll get partial credit, and you can always resubmit if you want to get the 5 points out of 5. All right, please let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.